so I turned down my Oxford University offer. Hi everyone, my name is Emily. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you've never seen me before, check out my other videos to cover the whole of the A-level politics content for Edexcel. But that is essentially all I've posted so far, and I think it is a bit confusing, especially looking at the intros of those videos and down in the comment section if you don't actually know me in real life. Hopefully this video is going to be split into 6 sections. The first section is giving you a bit of a background information about my first 2 years at college. The second one is my UCAS and my university application the first time around. Section 3 is about my 3rd year at college, why I decided to take it and what I did. The 4th section is about UCAS, part 2, the 2nd year running. The 5th section is basically the section that I think most of you will be interested in. Why did I reject Oxford? And then the 6th section is what I think now and looking back in retrospect. So hopefully I'll put timestamps down in the description below, but here we go. Part 1, year 1 and 2 at college. So I think this is really important to understand why I decided to make the decision I did 3 years later is if we start at the beginning. So in 1st and 2nd year of college, which is supposed to be all of years at college, I did English literature, politics and music A-levels. But at the end of my first year I got an A in English lit, an A in politics and a B in music. I then obviously did UCAS. At the end of my 2nd year I got an A in English lit, a B in politics and a C in music. I'll talk about that a bit later, but the reason why those grades were a bit less is loads of reasons, but we had teaching problems during politics which made me get a B instead of an A. I decided quite early on that I was going to apply to do PPE at Oxford and at different universities. Part 2, UCAS, year 1. So in the summer term of year 12, or the summer between year 12 and year 13, I did my application for university. So I applied to Oxford, this is a long time ago now, Oxford, Leeds, Lancaster, I think Essex, but I don't really know, I can't remember. Summer 2018 that I started working on my UCAS. So I did my personal statement, all that sort of stuff, and I did the Oxford test. Now, I come from a really deprived area of the country, one of the most deprived areas, where most people don't go to uni. In fact, most people drop out of school or don't go to college. So the prospect of going to uni, let alone Oxford, is already quite a big thing in this area. So there was absolutely no way I was going to get in. No way. And I didn't. In fact, I didn't even make it to interviews. I did the Oxford test. I knew I didn't do very well. The test I sat was the TSA, Thinking Skills Assessment, which is an entry test for PPE, Philosophy, Politics and Economics. And I pretty much knew that I'd failed it. But it was fine, you know, because I wasn't expecting anything. In fact, at that time, I came up with the motto, aim high, expect low. So we're going to aim for Oxford and expect to, not get anywhere near it. And that's what happened. And I found out before Christmas of 2018. During that process, I think I was sort of a bit rushed with looking at universities. I wasn't really sure what I wanted out of uni. I'd only visited a couple, and so the choices that I made when I, put down my universities on UCAS were not necessarily the best ones for me. The universities that I really wanted to apply for actually required you to take A-level maths. Now you might be thinking, Emily, that's quite obvious. You're going to be doing economics, of course there's going to be some maths involved. But when I started college, I actually thought I was going to do English Lit and go into teaching, and definitely wasn't going to go into politics. Other times have changed. Yeah, so I decided to have another go. Part 3, third year. I'm at a very good sixth form college where they allow students to take a third year in some situations. So in my situation, I needed to take a third year in order to apply for the course and the universities that I wanted to go to. So my plan was to take A-level maths in 1 year, which that's quite scary. So my plan was to take A-level maths in 1 year and retake politics, because at that point I was having really bad teacher issues. We were actually on supply teachers for quite a while, and I knew that I wasn't going to get the grade that I knew I could get by the end of second year. Now, if you're wondering how I did A-level maths in a year, my college actually offers further maths, and the way they teach it is they do first year, they teach them all of the A-level content, and in second year they do the further maths content. So I was able to just join the first years in the A-level maths bit and then just sit my A-level maths exam, theoretically, although that didn't really happen. So I went to my third year and I was unable to stay in politics lessons because my college didn't have the funding for me to do that, but I needed to sit 3 blocks. So because I was doing A-level maths in a year, that takes up 2 blocks. So then I decided to choose AS, or the first year of history, which, oh my goodness. Part 4, UCAS round 2. So obviously doing UCAS this time round was so much easier. We had a personal statement to go off of. I actually just got a red pen, and it was the first time I'd read my personal statement since I wrote it, so I just crossed a load of things out that I didn't agree with anymore. I wrote a whole massive paragraph on socialism, and yeah, so I tweaked it, but it was so much easier. And I'd obviously had like a whole other year to research unis and where I'd like to go. So I applied for Lancaster, Loughborough, Reading, Leeds and Oxford. So what happened? Well, obviously I found out all of my university decisions before Oxford, and I found them all out pretty quickly actually. I think it was like a week. I think it was a week after I sent off my UCAS application, I got my first response. So this year I managed to get 2 unconditional offers and 3 conditionals, one of which being Oxford University. So my 2 unconditionals were from Lancaster and Reading, and my 2 conditionals were Loughborough, which was an entry requirement of AAB, and Leeds, which was an entry requirement of AAA, and obviously Oxford has an entry requirement of AAA. I think something very important to add in here is that I was in the same mindset for Oxford as I was the first year. There was absolutely no way that I was gonna even get to interview. I didn't last year, so why would I this year? And I got a B last year in politics, so why would they even take someone on that had already sat the exams and got a B? This time around I was a lot more comfortable doing the Oxford test. I'd already done it once, so I knew the system and I was able to prepare, I think, a lot better than the first time round. So from the minute I sat the Oxford test, I was just waiting for my Oxford rejection email, just like I got the previous year. I was 100% ready, and whenever I had an email pop up on my phone, I was like, this is going to be it. I'm not going to get through. And then I did. I cried. And I was like, how the hell did I do that? I mean, I thought the test was better. I thought my application was better this time round, but Oxford? No way. And there was quite a big sense of they're only taking me because I come from a deprived background and I didn't necessarily have the best schooling, and they just need to fill a quota. Regardless, I was super excited to go to Oxford. I'd actually been there twice. I applied for Christchurch, by the way. So I'd been to Christchurch twice before. I went for a summer school between year 12 and year 13. And I was lucky enough to be accepted onto a Women in PP day the previous year. So year 13 sometime. I was super excited to go back to Oxford because obviously I had been given this opportunity to sit through interviews and go back there and stay there for like 4 days, and essentially for 3 days where everything was paid for, and meet some amazing people. And I was super excited because obviously I wasn't going to get an offer, but I didn't care because what a brilliant surprise. So went down to Oxford in December, and I actually did film a few sections and how I felt after the interviews, but essentially I had the best time with the best people. We still have a little group chat, we still talk there pretty much every day. I had an amazing experience there, so kudos to Christchurch. I did the interviews and I didn't think much about it. After I got home, I was still researching other universities because, again, there was absolutely no way they were going to accept me. I was lucky enough to get to interviews, so that was it. I was looking seriously at Loughborough for my first choice. It's the only one out of the unis I had applied to that I'd been to, and I really liked it, and it was the best uni I'd seen up until that point. So I was looking at the second uni, like my insurance, and then I got an email from Oxford, and I was 100% certain, 100% certain this was my rejection email. So I opened it. I was ready to, you know, gorge on chocolate and say like I didn't make it again, and that's just sod's law, isn't it? You try twice and you still fail. But I opened it and I was sort of sat in silence for a little while because I could not believe that they said yes. It read something along the lines of, "Dear Emily, congratulations, you have been offered a place to study philosophy, politics and economics at the University of Oxford." And I couldn't cry, I couldn't speak, I was just deadpan. And I went downstairs and I told my mum and she started crying, but I had no emotions. And I think it's because I'd prepared myself to be rejected again, and it was sort of like in my mind it had already happened, you know. I'd absolutely no way. I'd already failed in my mind. I'd already been rejected. Not that not getting a place at Oxford is failure, because it's not at all. But in my mind that had already happened. Part 5. Okay, now what? So after a couple weeks of just, what the hell, is this actually real? What is happening? I've dreamt of this since I understood what university was and what Oxford was, and now I've done it. I was like, okay, now what? So it's only at this point that I started looking seriously at the finance, at the where am I going to live, how much money is this all going to be, how am I going to survive. I hadn't properly, I have to be honest, I hadn't properly looked at the finance for Oxford. I knew it was ridiculously expensive and probably twice as much as I could afford, and I was realistically never going to survive financially at Oxford. But I'd not even bothered looking at it because it wasn't even a thing in my head. I was going to try and it wasn't going to happen, and we were just going to go to another uni and forget about it. And now it was becoming real. So at this point I was thinking seriously at putting Oxford as my firm choice, obviously, because it's Oxford University. You're not going to decline Oxford, are you? And then as my second choice, I was going to put Loughborough. It was the university that I've been to that I liked the most out of all the unis, and the only one out of all the unis that I'd applied to this year that I'd actually been to. But I just wanted to double check and go to the other unis that I'd applied to make sure that it was 100% the right decision. I didn't want to put anything on UCAS until I was absolutely sure. And thank God. Okay, so at this point we'd ruled out Leeds because Leeds has an entry requirement of AAA, which is the same as Oxford, so completely pointless putting it as an insurance. Loughborough was my other conditional offer, which was AAB. Ideally though, I wanted an unconditional offer to put as my second, and then ask them if they would continue with that unconditional offer if I put them as an insurance, or whether that would change to conditional. I later found out that it changes to a conditional offer as if you put it for your second, which is kind of rubbishy, but hey. The one and only applicant day I went to was at Lancaster University. Now, for context, I live down south, obviously, from my accent, but Lancaster, it took us about 9.5 hours to get there. It was ridiculous, and my mum was like, what is the point? Why are we bothering going there? Can we not just do like a virtual open day online? But I was super stubborn and probably a bit awful, and I said no, I want to go there before I make up my mind. And so I went there, and my headset was already like, no, this isn't going to be the one. I love Loughborough so much. Definitely going to put Loughborough as my second. I'm just going there to essentially finalise that this is a no for me. And then we got to the uni, and as I was walking around, I felt so comfortable in the university, and I was finding out lots of different things about the clubs and the collegiate system, which is so close to the collegiate system at Oxford. And I was looking at accommodation, which was so cheap but so nice. And most importantly, I met the tutors, the lecturers that were going to be essentially my mentor for the next 3 years, and I get on so well with those people, and I felt so respected and like we were equal. When I was walking around Lancaster, I was like, oh crap. Okay, definitely we're getting rid of Loughborough now. Loughborough is gone. Lancaster is 100% my second choice. And it was, the more I was walking around and the more I was talking to people that worked there, the more I was questioning, why don't I just take that unconditional offer? After this day, on the I think it was 8 hours or something journey home, I did not say a lot to my mum in the car, because I was mulling things over in my head. I think secretly in my head I was already like, you should go to Lancaster, it's so much better for you than Oxford, but I didn't want to admit that to myself. So I got home, and a couple of days later had a bit of a breakdown, just a bit, and I was talking to my auntie, who I'm actually really close to, and my mum as well, and we were going through a checklist of accommodation, clubs and societies, mental health stuff, which is super important for me because I have depression and anxiety, and I've struggled with mental health all of my life. So something that was really important was the mental health support and how I'd actually feel. And we were rating them based on which university was better for each category. And I think aside from closeness to home, Lancaster won. It was super hard to make the decision, and I didn't make it lightly. I had, basically by the end of that day, where I'd made a list of things and ranked them and could visually see that Lancaster was such a better fit for me than Oxford. By the end of that night, I'd accepted my offer. And that wasn't without a load of tears and panic attacks. That day was really, really hard because essentially I was putting my future, mental health, financial state, my future education, just my future in general, above my childhood and teenage dream of going to Oxford University. It was super tough, particularly because I'd spent a third year at college, a third tiresome year at college, essentially just so I could try again for Oxford. And with all of the effort I'd put into my personal statement and my UCAS application and getting the best I could at maths, which was super hard because I knew that I had to get an A this year, to let go of Oxford was super painful. Part 6. Thank God. So since I firmed my unconditional offer for Lancaster, I have had regrets. I have had dreams about Oxford. I have had times where I've been reading the Oxford group chat with all of my Oxford friends and thinking, oh my god, what if I don't make any friends in Lancaster? Why am I throwing this away? I've worked so hard for this. I've had a couple panic attacks about the fact that I said goodbye, and I looked at, you know, is there any possibility of me changing my mind? And of course there's not, because UCAS is a contract, and once I press that button, that is it. So really I'm making this video more for myself than for anyone else that's watching, because I know that there are going to be some times, particularly during this crazy lockdown situation, there are going to be times where I think to myself, I should have chosen Oxford, and it's ridiculous for a working class person from a disadvantaged background to turn down Oxford University. But I have to remind myself that there are loads and loads and loads of reasons why I did it, and it was not a decision that I took quickly or lightly, and there was a lot of things to consider. So now we're in this situation where A-level results and GCSE results are being decided a different way because exams are cancelled, and I'm not going to go over that because I'm sure you guys already know that situation. But I am very, very, very grateful that I accepted an offer, or even to be given an unconditional offer. That is amazing. But to have secured my place at uni and to have that all settled, and there's no, you know, I will be going to Lancaster. I'm in a very lucky place at the moment, and I don't take that for granted. One thing I would say is I never expected to make it to interviews at Oxford or to get an offer, and I never ever ever dreamt of turning down Oxford University. From someone that literally campaigned to be on the student association at my college with the slogan aim high, expect low, Emily Payne Oxford reject, to now go into aim high, expect low, Emily Payne someone who rejected Oxford, is outstanding and incredible and scary. It is scary. The biggest thing I can say to you guys is don't accept a university offer because of the prestige and because of the reputation of the university. I realised by the end of this journey that the only thing that was still making me go, I can't accept Lancaster as my first, is the fact that it was Oxford. It was this amazing place that I'd be stupid to turn down, and I realised that I was letting prestige take over the better choice for me. Put yourself first rather than looking at the university's history and what people think about it, because at the end of the day, a first from Lancaster University is going to be worth pretty much the same as a first from Oxford University. If you have any ideas for videos or anything that you'd like me to go into detail about, then leave comments down below. If you are studying A-level politics on the EdXL specification, I have done UK, US and ideology videos, which you can see on my channel down below. Please press subscribe. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers, which is insanity. Absolutely insane that many people are watching an idiot ramble on about A-levels. But here we are. That's it. I will see you guys hopefully very soon, and I hope that you are all safe and well, and your families are safe and well, and that you are enjoying this time as much as you can. Bye.